What's in it for the black people? What's in it? What's in it for the black people? I'm in it. What's in it for the black people? What's in it? What's in it for the black people? I'm in it. For the black people. 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 What's in it for the black people? Let's hear it. What's in it for the black people? Don't fear it. What's in it for the black people? Let's hear it. What's in it for the black people? Don't fear it. For the black people. 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 What's in it for the black people? You know it. What's in it for the black people? Let's show it. What's in it for the black people? You know it. What's in it for the black people? Let's show it. For the black people. 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 For the black people.
Yo, who said devotion had to be sad? Yo, check this out. The Lord is my shepherd, and I want. He's making me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restored my soul. God's gonna turn it around.
Come all the way with me. Don't leave me now. Come all the way with me. Oh, please. Please. Please don't leave me now. Please don't leave me now. Please. From glory to Gethsemane to Golgotha to the grave, from the grave back to glory. Glory to Gethsemane to Golgotha to the grave, from the grave back to glory. Glory to Gethsemane to Golgotha to the grave, from the grave. Glory to Gethsemane to back to glory. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come all the way with me. Don't leave me now. Come on.
Kingdom of heaven is on the I'm sorry, have your name.
To the Maze Jackson Show. You are listening to the most dangerous show in the morning. This is What's in It for the Black People Radio. Maze Jackson. Maze Jackson, the most vociferous advocate for black people in the world.
For Ruthie Moore, for Todd Stoger, I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them Maze said, Mayor Lightfoot, man, we ain't accepting that. We ain't accepting that. Let's go. Yeah. Let's get down to business and go ahead and Foot seems more lesbian than black. Rahm Emanuel's another case. He was just as tired. 50 closed schools left much to be desired. Police had Anjanette naked on that body cam. They suppressed the footage so it couldn't touch a lot of hands. Reminds me of that 16 shots in that cover-up. Both of them similar, so I went and dug it up. George Floyd killed, a lot of riots happened in the town. Southside burned and they wouldn't let them bridges down. Grandmother sick, need a prescription and plus a couple groceries. You gon' have to travel just to get it now. COVID-19 out here shutting all the business down. Not enough SBA loans to even give around. So many failed businesses that you can put them in the pile. If you don't survive the pandemic, it's gonna sit you down. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Shout out to Willie Wilson, hope one day you get to send it. We need some different players in the game to handle business. So many shady characters like Madigan and Blago. But when you really break it down, it's typical Chicago. City full of gangsters, it's what the land was built on. Same streets with hood legends, DNA gets spilled on. Carjackers out here lurking, trying to get they steal on. Looking for a block to put them Hellcat wheels on. Let this give bogus appraisals a red line. Car crackers out here getting minimal fair time. And up the seal carry, I stay with the pipe. For Illinois gun laws giving minimal rights. Stay up on the swivel, make sure I'm moving tight. Check all of my mirrors when I pull up to the light. Pick my homie up from out of town, man, he caught a flight. He was hella nervous, told him, shorty, this a way of life. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad, we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Wake up, Chicago! Wake up, world. This is the Maze Jackson Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my co-host, Ruthie Moore, in the building, plus my man, DJ Riis, the ruler. Mr. Business in the front, party in the back. Y'all, you know, we was having a great conversation, but I had to put the freeze on it because we got the man in the building. Now, y'all know I got this long-standing affection for my alma mater, the University of Illinois. Now I think about it, I'm going to have to get an eye. Y'all going to have to send me an artist. We're going to have to get an eye on the wall over here somewhere. But here in the... Ruthie, don't be making that face.
I mean...
Ruthie over there making the face because she is the chairman of the president of the DePaul Alumni
You talking about
Association.
ILL.
I-N-I!
Hey, but you see how them two didn't say it, though? But they looked at me like
They was
wanted
waiting.
to.
They was waiting. No, see, they got their suits on.
That's why they wanted to, he said.
They got their
But
suits
I see
on.
you held it together. You held it together.
They got their suits on, so they come in here to be extra fresh. You know, see the chancellor a smooth dude. So he got to be cool. Now actually, you know what? I need that video though. Cause you know, you was a cool dude. But when I saw the video last week 2 weeks ago at the City Club, I was like, you pretty cool for a chancellor though. Cause you know, did I see you in bunny slippers?
Well, I think there's a compliment in there somewhere. But, yeah, you saw me in bunny slippers, and as I said, if it takes wearing bunny slippers to make our students feel comfortable and a sense of belonging to the finest university in the world, I wear bunny slippers. Not every day, but a couple of times a week if necessary.
There it is. All right, y'all, in case you all are confused about who I'm talking about, it is the chancellor of the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Not to be confused with UIC, because you know, no, I'm just telling you, because the UIC people always be like, I went to U of I. I be like, hold on. Did you go to UIC? Were you a Flame or were you the Fighting Illini? And you know, they get all testy and they be like, because I remember when Stanley Eichenberry, he came to us, right, when I got my President's Award scholarship, and we had a choice between UIC and the University of Illinois when you got the award. And I was like, who in there, after seeing the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, who in their right mind would want to stay at home? But I wanted to get away from my parents as a preacher's kid. But look, since then, that was back in 1989. Since 1989, the University of Illinois has grown by leaps and bounds. And I'm happy here to have with us the Chancellor of the University of Illinois, Chancellor Robert Jones, in the building. Chancellor, welcome actually to the last time you saw me, I was at a different place. Some things happened. And in the spirit of being an entrepreneur, instead of having my voice silenced, we decided to build our own network. And so we've built this platform where we reach over probably about 75,000 people a week right here out of our little homemade studio. But I cannot tell you how excited I am when Andrea called me and said, I'm going to bring the Chancellor to the studio. I was like, man, we got somebody famous coming to the building. Chancellor, tell me about all the great, exciting things that are going on at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign right now.
Well, Mace, let me start by saying, first of all, it's great to be here with you again in your new surroundings. I want to know who's the artist that decorated this. It's absolutely amazing. But there's a lot that's going on at the university. You know, we started the academic year for first time during COVID, where we're back to face-to-face instruction. And thus far, things are going well. We have major goal is to always keep our university safe and keeping our community and our students, faculty, and staff safe. And we were so pleased to announce about a week or so ago the 10-day numbers. That really was very, very gratifying to know that we have the largest enrollment in university history again. 56,299 students.
That's like a city.
Yes.
That's like a city within a city. Riis wouldn't know nothing about that because, you know, his school only had he one of them directional schools. So I think they might have had I think they quad fit in the old Augill Hall. Right? That's how small they were. But, yep. Chancellor, what'd you say, 56,000?
56,299, and I have my team out trying to find one more student.
I know that's right.
To bring it up to 56,300. It rolls a little bit better off the tongue.
I know one. I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit later. I got an idea for you. But, Chancellor, so you know first of all, let me back up.
with that many students at the University of Illinois, and you know how much affection I have for the school, I gotta ask you, what's in it for the black people? Out of 56,300 students, 299. What are you doing? Because we hear stories about the challenges of black kids staying in state. What are you doing at the University of Illinois to really focus on bringing us and keeping our best talent at home? You know, I'm still trying to convince my daughter right now. But talk to me about that, Chancellor. What is in the place? Because University of Illinois is not necessarily cheap. Can our families afford to go there?
Yes, you can, because first of all, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about how affordable the university is, and I can tell you we've been recently recognized by a number of entities about the fact that we deliver amazing education at an affordable price. And I think I've told this story to you once before, but since you asked the question, I think it's important to mention again that one of the things that we've been really working on is how do we make education more affordable? And we started something about 3 years ago called the Illinois Commitment, which is free tuition and fees for any student who gets admitted to the university from a family that makes $67,100 or less, are able to enroll at the university with free tuition and fees for 4 years if you're a first-year student and 2 years if you're a transfer student. Because what we found out, it was that it was very clear to us that that was a impression about people know the sticker price, because it's published. That's the sticker price. But what they don't realize is most students don't pay the sticker price because of scholarship, financial aid, etc. In Illinois Commitment, we started it to kind of get rid of the question about how much it costs to create a new narrative, not worrying about what it costs, and from a perspective of no longer saying I can't afford to go to the university because of the cost. Now we hope the narrative is I cannot afford not to enroll at the university because it's affordable. I can get a free tuition ride, fees for 4 years, and you get an amazing education where even with that, you come out, our students come out, the majority of them, more than 50% of our students come out of the university with no debt.
Really?
People don't realize that.
Ruthie, you hear that?
No debt.
You hear that? Ruthie talking about student loan debt that if you would have went to U of I, we'd have you straight.
have it forgiven.
We had you straight.
Well, and the rest of them that come out with some debt is about $24,000. Average. Significantly less. No, that's the price of a brand new Yugo if they still make.
Did you say Yugo? All right, now I'm gonna tell you. You just put us in the same age group because Ruthie is like, "What's a Yugo?" Right? What is a Yugo?
Is that the Steve Urkel car?
No, it was the car made by Yugoslavia when they tried to enter the market, and it had you could get it for like $3,000. Had no air, no heat, 2 seats.
I'm gonna Google it.
Barely a radio, but it was the Yugo, and everybody could get one. Chancellor, but so let me back up because, well, 2 things. Because you my girl over there, so she's behind the scenes. She's back there somewhere making things happen. But in the studio, you got a brother with you. Introduce the brother. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, in addition to what we've done to make it more,
can you get closer to the mic?
Make education more accessible and affordable. One of the things that I did, one of the first things I did, Mace, when I came here, I just started my 6th year on Sunday.
6 years?
Yes, I started my 6th year. When I came here 5 years ago, it was very clear to me the university had a very strong commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion, but the structure just was not aligned in a way to improve our success and access and equity. It was an associate chancellor position, so it didn't have the gravitas, if you will, to get the kind of respect and to demand the partnerships that needed to be put in place. It didn't have adequate budget, etc. So the first request I put forth was to that to a chancellor, and so I'm very pleased to introduce my colleague, someone that I first met some 23 years ago when I helped the University of Minnesota hire him from SUNY Buffalo to become a engineering professor, one of the first new minted tenure track African Americans that we brought to join the faculty at Minnesota. And he went on to have a very successful career as a mechanical engineer.
Oh, you smart, smart.
Ironically, took over some of the responsibilities that I started and I had during my 34-year career at Minnesota. And he took over equity and diversity work. So long story short, I'll let him tell you the story of how he got here. But Dr. Sean Garrett, the Vice Chancellor for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign.
Welcome, Sean.
Good morning. Good morning. Before I say anything,
Can I get you to lean in just a little bit?
If I remember the Yugo. I believe it was $39.95. That was the price.
30. You could get a brand new.
Because I was a college student at the time, and that was my dream to be able to
get a Yugo. Well, I think
you,
as a mechanical engineer, I think you've exceeded that at this point. What you driving now? Look, keep it low, keep it low. Don't even put you out there. We don't put you out there like that. It's all good. It's all good. So, Sean, welcome to the Maze Jackson Show. This is your first time, but I hope this is not your last time because I got some work for you. But let's start. Let's tell us a little bit about your tenure. You came from Minnesota, so you're a Big Ten guy.
Big Ten, Midwest.
Minnesota, though. Hold it against you. Go ahead.
You know, these are great institutions. If you look at the experiences offered, the academic experiences, the sociocultural experiences, they're absolutely fantastic. It's our responsibility to make sure that as many people take advantage of these resources as possible. As many black and brown folks show up on campus, as many women, as however you define diversity. It could be age, it could be sexual identity, it could be gender, it could be marital status, service status, etc. We want to make sure that we bring as many people to the campus as possible, and they have both an excellent academic experience, but then the sociocultural piece.
So, Sean, I'm going to be honest with you. I tend to have issues with the whole concept of diversity and inclusion. I'm going to be straight up.
Yep.
Hence why we created What's in It for the Black People, because we used to hear all these code words, right? It would be diversity. It would be inclusion. It would be people of color. It would be black and brown. It would be all these things. And it seemed like the pot kept getting bigger and bigger. And our portion, and when I say our, I'm talking about black Americans, descendants of slaves, who seem to be getting a smaller and smaller and smaller share of the pie as the diversity and inclusion pot grows. And so I got to ask you, how do you make sure, because our interests are very clear, our self-interests are, how do we get more young black people educated and at the University of Illinois? Talk to me about specifically Illinois program, one of those things, but tell me what else is happening at the University of Illinois to make sure that our students are coming down.
Absolutely. A good example of one of our initiatives is a program called the Illinois Scholars Program.
Okay.
This is specifically meant to target black, brown students from low incomes, rural students from low-sending counties across the state. And the idea is this, also first-generation college students, so students who their parents haven't gone to college. More often than not, they don't have anyone in their families who've gone to college. And these are the students who are most likely to not graduate, to come for a year and leave with debt and or a negative experience. So we target these students by bringing them in 2 to 3 weeks every summer. The first summer is before they start as a freshman. And we basically familiarize them with their campus. We help them build a cohort, a sense of community with other institutions, because predominantly white institutions. If you look across campus on any given classroom, you may not see a large number of underrepresented students, but there are a decent number across the entire campus, but we need to connect them with one another. The purpose of that is they feel that this is their place, that they have every right to be there as anyone else. And what does that translate into? Ridiculously high retention rates. First-year retention rates above 93, 95%. Second-year retention rates above 88%. Third-year retention rates, again, in the mid. I'm not sure what numbers mean. Again, 88% of the folks who start in their freshman year come back for their sophomore year. Almost 90% who start in their sophomore year come back for their junior year. These are numbers that are better than all universities across the country, except for places like Yale, Princeton, Harvard, MIT, Stanford, and so on. And really what it means is no debt, and again, they get the degree and the income and life experience that confers.
Got it. Talk to me about the Power of I program. You're launching it again. What exactly is it?
Well, the power of I is a part of our market. As you well know, one of the things that I kind of observed when I came here, that this is an amazing university, but we suffered from a severe case of Midwest modesty, where we didn't talk about the greatness and the excellence that this university represents. And I've been known to say that the University of Illinois does represent excellence at a massive scale. But the part of the challenge was that there was not a effort to brand and market the university. And Robin, who's sitting out there with Andrea, will tell you, I asked a question, how much is our marketing and branding budget, and was surprised to know that it was zero. And so we decided that this university, I owe it to the alums, I owe it to our current faculty and staff and students, to really make sure that their university is well known across the country and across the world, and that when when I get on an airplane and they see this block I, they know it's not Idaho or some other place that people always guess. And I had to ask myself, why is that not very high recognition? Is because we haven't told our story as effectively as we should or could. And it's an amazing story to tell of the excellence that this university has brought to bear in the almost 55 years of its history, and how it really has changed the world, how it has redefined the word impossible, and the impact that it's had on lives of black and brown majority people across the nation and across the world. And so the power of value is to remind people of the power of the University of Illinois, how we have really changed the world. You can't throw a stone down any street in Silicon Valley and not hit several engineers who graduated from this university. All of the top-of-the-mind companies, from PayPal to, et cetera, all of the ones that come to the top of the mind, YouTube, all of those started by University of Illinois graduates. And we've had an impact on the world that a lot of folks just don't realize. And we're going to have even more impact in the future in terms of the role that we're going to be playing with the University of Chicago and the Chicago Quantum Exchange, the role that we're going to be playing in helping to drive greater economic vitality in Chicago through the Discovery Partners Institute. These are all anchored by the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. So the power of I is just to remind the public and to remind ourselves that this truly is a university that represents excellence at a massive scale. It can change lives. It can change the world. And we have a track record of doing so.
You know what, Chancellor? I did the Power of I campaign last year. So we hope that we'll be able to participate this year. And you mentioned that budget, so we'd like to be included in that marketing budget. Because one of the things that I must tell you is that for a while now, and I guess it does correlate with your arrival at the University of Illinois, I used to get ticked off with all the love that the people up from the Evanston school got. I used to be like, why is Evanston, that little school in Evanston, acting like they are Chicago's Big Ten team when the Big Ten team is the University of Illinois? And so we have seen, before we had COVID, when you had the big gathering downtown and all of the Illini came together, it was great to see just the massiveness of what we've been able to do. Let me ask you, talk to me a little bit about sports. What's going on? Because like DJ and Ruthie, they don't, it was like great. Like I was there with Kevin Hardy, Riis, right? When we were really doing the thing, I was there for the Flying Illini. But it seems like we're coming back. Like we are really starting to invest in our, not just invest in our sports, but it seems like we're on the come up. Talk to me about what's going on with sports, and have we reconnected with CPS and bringing our athletes back to the University of Illinois?
Well, let me just say, back to the point you mentioned, that University in Evanston is a very fine institution.
It's cute.
And we talk about our peers. We're very proud to be part of the Big Ten that's made up of 14 of the finest institutions in this country. And so we're very, very proud. Each one has a unique mission, and each one brings their own perspective of excellence to the table. But let me just say, as it relates to your question about athletics, I have been around intercollegiate athletics most of my career. And so the way I approached this as when I was involved as Senior Vice President of Minnesota, President of SUNY Albany, and now Chancellor at Urbana-Champaign, is to try to help everybody understand the value proposition of the importance of the intercollegiate athletic experience, the role that intercollegiate athletics plays as a part of a university's lifeblood and how it delivers on its mission, and the importance of intercollegiate athletics as a pathway for a very large percentage of our students to obtain a college degree and at the same time be able to do what they love in terms of participations in a wide array of sports. And so it is a critical part of the university, and we've taken it very seriously, and we know that, there's been mixed results in our athletic program, but I think the most critical thing that happened was the hiring of Josh Whitman about 8 months before I arrived, who really has helped us fundamentally better understand what a winning program looks like. It has to have facilities that are adequate, a commitment to our students that they're students first and athletes second, and then having the ability to attract the kind of head coaches and coaching staff that will allow us to recruit the best in about student athletes and make sure that they get an amazing education. Very proud of the fact that our student athletes have a very high graduation rates across most of our sports and one of the highest in the Big Ten. So it is part of the academic enterprise that we're quite proud of, and we've seen a lot of progress in terms of sports like basketball and our golf team, and a lot of our other teams remain really competitive, and that's all you can really ask for in this environment. We're very proud to have a new head football coach who is still in a building phase, but all I say is just hang in there.
Hey, man.
Just wait.
I'm telling
Change
you,
is coming.
I was down at the University of Illinois scooting through the boxes, and then I ran through one of the boxes. Shout out to JGB, my favorite leader in the House of Representatives, Jahan Gordon Booth. Make sure I think she's a U of I grad too. She went to the University of Illinois. Y'all need to make sure y'all talk to Representative Jahan Gordon Booth. She is the Speaker Pro Tem, as a matter of fact, at the University of Illinois. Shout out to Angelica Alfaro, who is your local lobbyist. We appreciate her. Shout out to Cam Buckner. Cam Buckner is the What's in it for the Black People State Representative. Now, let me ask you, Chancellor, because I got to talk about my own self. So some of you all know, and I got to talk to you too, because this is just between us, though, right? So, I brag about the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign every day. Last year I had a peculiar experience because the chancellor invited me to his table at City Club, and everybody was going around the table, and they was like, when did you graduate? What year did you graduate? When did you graduate? And I was like, damn, I'm sitting at this table and I didn't graduate. And I'm not going to lie. Well, I actually lied, right? Telling you, full out. I was like, 2002, because I just felt like I didn't fit in. Like, here I am at this table. I'm right here with the chancellor. I'm the guest. I got all these important people, and everybody's going around, class of this and class of that. And I lied. I just didn't want to be like the dude at the table who didn't have his degree, who is running around here waving this flag about the University of Illinois. And I remember Jackie Williams a while back was like, Mace, you got to come on back into the family regardless. Like, you went, you count, send us a check. But she was development. I have always, the lessons that I learned at the University of Illinois are really what drove me to the levels of success that I've had. And for all the things that people talk about and, like all the things they give me accolades for and I've won awards, the biggest hole in my heart / and, they done been like, I done had people offer me to, hey, man, come go to such and such school and we'll give you you write a paper and you'll be done. And it's just like, I say, nah, man, I want it from the U of I. Like, if I'm going to do it, I want it from the U of I. Ruthie said, go online. I'm like, I'm scared to go online. I keep thinking about going to sit in a classroom because I still think of school as sitting in a classroom and what I'm going to look like this dude with this gray beard sitting in class. And then I saw Morehouse, right? I saw Morehouse came up with a program that they recruited all of the people who maybe had went for 2-3 years and brought them back and said, hey, finish this. Because I got to imagine that there's a lot of brothers with that hole in their heart or that hole in their resume gone on. And
Pockets.
Huh?
Or they pockets.
Or they pockets. I call it taking the long way around, right? Like, I took the long way around. I could have probably done 4 years and it would have been like a diagonal. I got out of school and then I had to take the corner, then take the corner, then go around the hills, etc. But I talked to, shout out to State Representative LaShawn Ford, who sent me the article and said we should try to get the University of Illinois to do something like this because this fits you. And so I am asking you, while we're got an audience, to consider creating a mechanism, a path, a way for us to come back and fix that hole, to close that hole. I'm gonna tell you, I'm nervous. It's like, and quite frankly, telling this story on air is a little bit embarrassing. But I feel like it's no point in having the decision makers at the table without at least advocating for the group that I represent. And I think I could probably get some legislators to help us get some funding to do it as well. But I do want to encourage you all, because there are so many of us, like, I'm always leery to come back to homecoming. But if it wasn't for those years at the University of Illinois, learning how to be an entrepreneur, meeting all of those people, the relationships that I made throughout my life, I would not be where I am. So I claim that I got a piece of paper. But I do want to encourage you all to think about creating a path.
Yeah. Well, let me start and then I'll ask Sean to comment. First of all, Mays, let me say that there are many paths to success in this world. And you've said it, what I think is most important, that part of your success resides in the fact that you did spend time at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, and it helped shape your sense of entrepreneurship, your drive and your determination and your perspective of excellence. I would just say that I've had a conversation with Representative Ford about this Morehouse initiative probably a good 8 months ago or so when he first made me aware of this. And this is something that Morehouse is really pushing, but I want to be clear that this is part of a initiative that I really was involved in when I was both at Minnesota and at New York, where it's called the college completion work, because we know that there's a very large percentage of people who fall into the category that you described for yourself, who may be 25, some people as small as 10, 15, 30 credits away from finishing their degree programs. And there is an effort across the country. Morehouse has gotten a lot of visibility about this because they added a bit more structure and clarity about what they were trying to do. But this is a part of what a lot of universities are doing, formally or informally, trying to provide opportunity for those. And you'd be surprised at the numbers. I don't remember the percentage
I'm not.
exactly.
I see them all the time.
There's a very large percentage of people who have not completed their degree. And I think higher education has an opportunity to be flexible and to try to find pathways to help those folks complete. And one of the things that we learn is that you can take educational content online. And so that has to be part of our thinking about how do you reach back, how do you strategically engage people to try to get back in higher education and complete those degrees that because of life circumstances or choices at the moment they were not able to do. And so we're very much interested in trying to see what we can do as a university to help individuals complete their college degrees and pursue higher education in a way that they weren't able to earlier in their careers.
Thank you, Chancellor. Sean?
Yeah, I would say, as the Chancellor mentioned, there are a large number of what we call non-traditional students, folks who don't show up the summer after graduating high school and then stick around for the next 4 or 5 years. And I think what we've learned over the past 2 years vis-a-vis COVID, remote instruction, is that not only can we do it, but it's a great way to fulfill our land grant mission of making sure that we educate as many people as possible. And as you mentioned, if you think about it, going to college is two things. It's the experience, and then there's the degree or the credential. You have the experience piece. You've benefited from being in that place and being in that community and learning and growing. Getting the credential, the actual certificate, that is, I don't want to say it's a small piece, but it's a...
Shoot, when you're trying to get paid.
Exactly.
It's a big piece. They be like, let me see that degree. That'll be another $25,000 off.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think there is a lot that can be done. I think universities, ourselves particularly, it's one of the conversations we have almost weekly. How do we make sure that we find ways of engaging more and more people across our communities, especially in our underrepresented communities, where you have a smaller fraction of folks who show up again 3 months after graduating high school in the fall and go for 4 subsequent years. These folks are more than deserving of a high-quality, affordable education. We are developing the tools to make sure we can do it in a way that allows you to work. If you are a young parent, if you have family members that you're supporting, how can you do all of those things while getting a high-quality Illini education?
I got one more for you. And then, Ruthie, you sure? Because I know you're
I got a question.
Hold on. Let me get this one, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. So I was just thinking about this $67,000, if you make under $67,000. So I got 2 kids. One is in college, and one is on his way to college. That threshold really doesn't work. I mean, if you're trying to put 2 kids in college and you're paying 2 tuitions, $67,000 is really not, it really bars a lot of people from even participating. And so I think one of the things that I often see is that we definitely go for poverty per se, but there's this middle space that exists, right? Where maybe it's a household of 120,000, but they got 2 kids, they're paying tuition, and $67,000 brings in a small group, I feel like, but oftentimes that group has a lot more challenges to overcome even, right, than just getting to college. It's then the lifestyle, can you afford to be there, etc. Then you've got the people that maybe they grew up in a solidly middle class, they weren't poverty, but to pay this tuition changes the dynamic of a parent. What do you tell a parent that's got 2 kids or 3 kids that's trying to get to the University of Illinois? Because the value is there. People don't understand the value, but they do understand the price.
Well, it is one of the challenges because, as you said, Maze, oftentimes we focus primarily on low-income families and students. And as we know, given the economic challenges and other issues of our time, median income is not what it used to be. It's certainly, if you've got more than one child in college, I don't care if you make $120,000 or $140,000 a year, you're having a challenging time putting 2 kids through college. And that is why important things from the legislature in the state of Illinois has been critically important in terms of the monetary award program that's available, the other assistance program there, are godsends and we certainly advocate each and every year for expanded support for those programs because they're what makes it possible for places like the University of Illinois to then add its own financial resources. And we've increased financial aid by almost $50 million over the last 5 years. And some of that support also goes to middle-income families because we know that they're the ones that are often having even the most difficult time seeing how they can be fair and equitable in deciding which one of their children are going to get an education and which one
is going to junior college.
and so when you add all of that together, it really is going to take the state of Illinois and its universities to really be on the same page around the issue of affordability. Because, as I said, middle-income category is the one that we have focused on as well as low-income students.
Okay. Ruthie.
Hello. My question is related. So like Eastern Illinois University has like what's called like a gateway program. And that's for like, the high school students to, come for the summer and kind of get acclimated. Does the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign have like a similar program?
bridge.
And what's it called? Yeah.
The program I mentioned, the ISP, is our Summer Bridge program. And again, it is, I believe it's 3 weeks. We bring kids in, get them to get familiarized with the campus, build a community, and the results have been absolutely extraordinary. We are growing it every year. We add about 10. We are building it out such that ideally we'd like to have it up to about 500 entry. Base the program in the different colleges across the entire campus, find applied arts, engineering, applied health sciences, and so on.
Can you tell us some of like the demographics of the students that enroll in that program?
I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I believe I would say roughly 60 to 70% are African American and Latino Hispanic. We do have a small number of students from rural backgrounds, but they're all, again, low income, first generation students, but about 60 to 70% is African American, Black, Latino, Hispanic.
I have one more question. It's a little bit tougher, but I'm just curious. So, like, U of I is like the STEM school. Like, it has some really high-ranking STEM programs. But when I look at the people who are enrolled in the programs, they seem to be foreign. Like, they don't necessarily seem to be African-American males or African-American, young women. Are there any concerted efforts that y'all are putting in to try to get Black young people in STEM programs at the U of I?
Yes, being somewhat biased because we both come out of STEM backgrounds, and so we understand that it's always been a challenge to get more people that look like us to be interested in STEM careers. And let me just tell you a couple of things that the university is doing and a couple of things that I've been involved with as the chancellor of the university, and being involved with a couple of national associations that have taken this very, very seriously. First and foremost, we have a higher percentage of people of color in STEM careers than you might imagine, and a very high percentage of women as well. And we have a commitment to that. One of the things that we're doing as a association of public and grant universities, I'm the past board, kicked off an initiative called Powered by Publics that's specifically designed to help the member institutions, and there are about 4 or 5 different cohorts across 240-something universities that participate as part of APLU, who are looking at fundamental issues that really make it more difficult for Black and brown kids to go into STEM careers. And if they decided to come, then how do you make sure they're successful in our universities? And one is to look at what some of us call these weed out courses. And I said we need to be weeding people in, not weeding people out. And those are courses that Black and brown kids have a tendency to what we call the DFW. They draw, they fail to draw. And the understanding and the analysis we're doing is trying to understand what happens that leads to that outcome for far too many of our Black and brown kids. That has led to some rethinking of those critical courses, because there are courses you have to take if you're going to stay in a STEM career, and you got to be successful in them. But what can we do about the curriculum to make sure that more students, as I said, are weeded in rather than focusing on them being the weed out courses? It's a national program that we are very much an anchor part of, and that is going to be looking resulting us tweaking, thinking differently about how those courses are taught, what kind of assistance students need in the course of taking those particular STEM courses. The other thing that we're doing is I'm a part of an initiative that's just getting underway, and I might add that there's one at the University of Illinois, Chicago, that focuses pretty much on the Latinx community, and they've got some significant funding recently to help get more Latinx kids into STEM careers. We're working on the same initiative with all of the land-grant universities and a very large percentage of the historically Black universities. That's going to be focused on getting more Black kids that are in HBCUs to think about coming to research universities like Illinois for their graduate degrees, for master's degrees. And it's a big idea, and we have about probably a dozen or more land-grant universities that have signed on, as well as every HBCU in this country, particularly the public ones, have signed on, and some of the institutions that may not be HBCUs, but are predominantly black institutions, have also indicated an interest. So we're having our first meeting next week, and so we look forward to coming back at some point, talking to you about what we're doing to work in partnership with HBCUs to get more black master's and PhD degree recipients in the future, particularly in STEM, but other careers as well.
So let me jump in here, and I'm going to say, first of all, Chancellor, is always a pleasure to have you here. Want to always make sure that you are welcome back, because we always want to know what is going on at the university. At the university, let me just, predominantly white institution, I call it PWI.
PWI.
So the Chancellor has everybody to worry about. Chancellor, I do think that what we are going, and Sean, you as well, I think of particular concern for us in the black community specifically is, even as we see the demographics and the census and the dynamics change, there seems to be, like, there's a pivot, right? People are pivoting, and as I stated in the beginning, when we these big groups, diversity and inclusion, and we, like, as you were going, you were piling more groups in there. There's only 20% of the pie, right, that is supposed to go to the people that had issues. And so one of the things that I think we got to make sure that we do, and I'm going to challenge you all on this, is to be very specific and intentional about what we're doing for black students, right? I think that the Latinx community has absolutely no issue advocating for Latinx. You got to do everybody. I get that. So we got to make sure that somebody, I'm never going to hold, I understand your job, and I understand your job. But even in that, like, I think about Dean Shelley, right? We knew that at University of Illinois when we were there, Dean Shelley's job was to make sure that the black students were handled, right? And he was a vice chancellor, but he was like y'all messed up, he slapped us. If we needed to be prodded, he prodded us. I just want to make sure that as you all have to operate in this space, the unique opportunity that we believe that exists with having a black chancellor, with having a black man over diversity and inclusion, is that you have a unique understanding. You can't always say it out loud. I get that. But please recognize that right now, as this dynamic starts to change, that we got to make sure that we don't let our kids get lost. Because even as we see the Latinx community advocating for programs to make sure that their children are moving in that direction, we got to start to work to find those same spaces for ours. Hey, guys, I need an eye. I need a big old eye, somewhere to go over there. I'll slap it over to Jordan. I definitely slap it over the Cubs. But we need the University of Illinois. Matter of fact, I might even put it on one of the main spots so that it can be in every camera shot. Because I got to tell y'all, if it was not for my time at the University of Illinois, good, bad, and the ugly, you wouldn't know me, right? My activism, my knowledge of self, my connection to the black community. Remember, I grew up in Bolingbrook. The first time that I knew that black people was more than just slaves, the first time that I learned about all of our history happened at the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. So many of the people that are doing major work in the black community were birthed out of the movements that happened at the University of Illinois. And so y'all got to understand, there was a time when I was standing on President Eikenberry's lawn throwing snowballs at him because we were trying to get the kids out at UIC because we were trying to express our blackness at that point. But I think it's the time, like, the people that were there went on to be U.S. attorneys, to start schools, but it was right there at the University of Illinois. And I got to tell y'all, if y'all ever get a chance to send your children away to a school, ideally somewhere like the University of Illinois, please do, right? It's like adulthood with training wheels, right? You get out there, you can stay out late as you want, but you got to be at class, right? There are people at the University of Illinois, you got to do a little bit of work to develop the relationships with the staff because it's a lot of people. But I will tell you that there is no better experience that I had in my life that shaped me. Look, Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, I'm going to give you Sean, and then we're going to let you close. Ruthie got to go to work, so I'm going to wrap this up.
It is. You know your clock a little off up there.
Oh, it's 2 minutes off. Okay, Sean, you go ahead, and then Chancellor will give you the opportunity to close, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Well, I'll say again, thank you for having us. I really enjoyed this. And to your point about making sure that we do right by black people, it's our job to make sure that we do right by absolutely everyone. And the Chancellor giving me this opportunity to serve in this role, we're taking it very seriously, and we're doing it in a systemic way.
All right.
Thank you.
Chancellor?
Well, basically, let me just say thank you again for the opportunity to come and provide a perspective about the University of Illinois, where we are now and where we're going in the future. Is an important part of our commitment to be more visibly present, but to have a very high impact presence here in the city of Chicago, because we are the state's land-grant university. We're also the research university, so it's our role and responsibility to make sure that we serve all of the people of the state, and the third largest city in this nation is a critical part of that.
There it is. Hey, y'all, this is the show. Ruth, the Chancellors. I am the host of the Maze Jackson Show, asking every single day, what's in it for the black people? And if you don't like it, you can still tell them. Maze said, we out of here. Peace.
Let's get down to business and go ahead and address the facts, man. Lightfoot seems more lesbian than black. Rahm Emanuel's another case. He was just as tired. 50 closed schools left much to be desired. Police had Anjanette naked on that body cam. They suppressed the footage so it couldn't touch a lot of hands. Reminds me of so I went and dug it up. George Floyd killed a lot of right.
Oh, you put her
Down. The sick need a prescription and plus a couple groceries. You gon' have to travel just to get it now. COVID-19 out here shutting all the business down. Not enough SBA loans to even give around. So many failed businesses that you can put them in the pile. If you don't survive the pandemic, it's gon' sit you down. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. We sing, dance, play ball, entertain, and crack jokes. Government infested black neighborhoods with crack smoke. System that milked us so bad we got lactose. Still trying to find out what's in it for us black folks. Shout out to Willie Wilson. Hope one day you get to Senate. We need some different players in the game to handle